All right, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you, just like me. All right, promoting Chimera, Hold Your Ground, really amazing album. Sounds like Journey and Def Leppard together. You got to go listen to it. I think you're going to dig this. Featuring Dennis Ward and keyboardist Eric Rainio, who is really, really good. Again, if you're a fan of Def Leppard or Journey, I think you'll dig Chimera. Getting into the Journey thing again. Sorry, people. I'm apologizing ahead of time. People accuse this channel of just being about Journey, and today they're going to be right, because that Billboard magazine article yesterday absolutely eviscerated Neal Schon and his wife. Just there's no nice way to look at that. The first paragraph is just devastating here. Early in Journey's 2022 arena tour, lead guitarist Neal Schon became convinced people were out to get him. So he stationed two off-duty police officers outside his dressing room, according to sources familiar with the tour. It's funny because in the past I've gotten a lot of flack. So who are you talking to? Who are your sources? How do you know this stuff? What do you know? How do you know it? They don't cite who their sources are here. They're, someone, by the way, this makes it pretty clear that there is probably a mole in the Journey organization. And that mole seems to be very favorable to Team Kane because they're putting out all of this paranoid, passive-aggressive behavior that they are attributing to Neal Schon and his wife. But I'm going to cover why Neal Schon might be paranoid. Maybe he's too paranoid. Maybe he's more paranoid than he needs to be, and maybe his wife is feeding that paranoia. Anyway, this goes on. So Schon has two police officers, off-duty police officers, outside his dressing room. And at a Florida show last spring, Schon and his wife sent an assistant into keyboardist Jonathan Cain's dressing room to snoop around to find what the sources have no idea. Okay, so the sources have no idea, okay? But according to the sources, that's what they did. Cain caught the assistant red-handed and then hired an off-duty officer to guard his own dressing room, the sources say. For much of the tour, which sold 296,000 tickets and grossed $31.9 million, according to Billboard Box Score, two of the three musicians who wrote Don't Stop Believin' and performed it every night for decades squabbled over whether one guard outranked the other in the event of a dispute between Schon and Cain. That's just the level of pettiness and control and conspiracy they have came to believe in, a source says of the Shons. Again, a source. I wonder who the source is. It'd be interesting to know who it is. By the way, I might have been at that Florida show. Oh, man. Yeah, I liked the concert. It was really good. Toto, amazing. Journey sounded great. I don't know what they're doing when it comes to the soundboard. I guess you just don't worry about it. You just go there and enjoy the concert. Now, with that kind of introduction and the sources say and this and that, the level of paranoia and pettiness and all of this garbage, here's the number one reason. And I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not excusing it as far as the paranoia goes with Neal Schon. Didn't they try to take Journey over? Didn't a bunch of people behind Neal Schon's back try to take Journey over? Yes or no? I mean, it's been confirmed, yet, yeah, there was a coup. And who was in the coup? Supposedly Steve Perry, but then he came along and said he wasn't, but then I think Neal said he was on the call. So it sounds like because of Neal's involvement with his offshoot band Journey Through Time, this is my take on this. sources say. I think that these people were alarmed that this was somehow going to destroy or harm the brand. And maybe they wanted to take it over and find someone to replace Neal Schon, which I don't think the fans would be too pleased about. He's the only original member left, and you're going to force out the only original guy. I just don't think that works. Now, you may have some strong opinions about Neal Schon, and you may think, wow, he's gone off the rails. But if they had this coup and the board of directors, including Herbie Herbert, who was still alive at the time, said, hey, we need to wrestle this organization away from Neal Schon. And from what I understand, and you could kind of see with the manager who was hired and then quit, Neal isn't a manager. He's not a business guy. Kane is probably more business, but I think Kane may have underestimated Neal and his wife together, and they make up a formidable team that dug into the trademarks and apparently did some work behind the scenes and knew the right people to call, like the lawyers and the accountants and trademark experts and so forth. So they got all those people together, and they essentially tried to earn more money off of stuff that they didn't know they could earn money from. So I don't think that's a bad thing. And Steve Perry took umbrage with it, but that lawsuit either got settled or dropped. This article says it got dropped. So the paranoia that Neal Schon exhibits, I think, really stems from a couple of things. From the fact that he doesn't like Kane's politics, or he doesn't think that Journey should be political. That's one, and that's legitimate. Steve Perry, by the way, has said the same thing. These songs aren't political. I don't want my songs being used at rallies. You've got the keyboardist, performing at Mar-a-Lago on at least one. I think this made it clear that he's done this 2 or 3 times now. I think maybe twice, that he played a fundraiser and then he played another event, the campaign launch, which is real overt. That's not like, hey, I'm just going to hang out with the former president for a little while and have some pictures done. Even that, I think, in Neal Schon's brain is too much. I mean, whether you like Donald Trump or not, he's very polarizing. So I think that has something to do with this. And you know what's interesting? The media like Billboard or any of these publications, they hate Donald Trump. They loathe Donald Trump, and they hate the people who like Donald Trump as well. And they swerve way out of their way to take a swipe at Trump, even if he's not the subject matter. They will do it to make him look like a fool. And I'm not saying there aren't times when maybe he does look like a fool, but these people hate that guy. And this is how much I think the industry doesn't like Neal Schon, because you would think they would prop Schon up because he's not a fan of Trump, or Kane is a fan of Trump. So here's the side that we're going to take. Nope. To their credit, in a way, they're trying to almost stay objective. Like, it's a great opportunity because we can't stand Trump. But then you got this Neal guy who seems really paranoid. So we're going to have to focus on his paranoia and all of this petty, what they call passive-aggressive behavior, and then talking about the wife and what she did before she was married to Neal. No mention of any other wife, by the way, really. And what the things, maybe there's a mention, but it's not like any of the stuff that may have been nefarious. There are videos that you can go watch on YouTube which excoriate that side of the equation as much as what this is doing to Neal Schon. All right. Now, again, I'm not sitting here defending Neal Schon. All I'm saying is that there are 3 sides to every story. It's, the two people, and then there's the truth. And the truth, I think, is somewhere in the middle here. I mean, if your band is going to be taken over by a coup d'etat, just somebody coming in and saying, look, this is how we get rid of Neal. We have a vote and he's off the island, and that's the end of it. And it'll be rough, and fans will react much like they did when Steve Perry left the band. Probably their calculation was they don't like Neal as much as Steve. And maybe if we get rid of Neal, maybe we can coax Steve to come back and do some cameos. I don't know. Based on Steve Perry's comments over the last few years, he probably likes Neal more than he likes anyone else. That's the way I see it. But maybe Steve is indifferent at this point. He doesn't care. So, to paint Neal Schon and his wife as super paranoid. By the way, one of the things they talked about was this lawsuit that got dismissed, where Neal's wife was allegedly pushed by security. And so the Shons filed a lawsuit against the security team. They lost the lawsuit, or it was dismissed. So they didn't technically lose it, but they couldn't find evidence that she was pushed. But this article admits that there was footage that was mysteriously missing from the security cameras. It was, a glitch at that moment. There was a glitch where you couldn't tell if Neal's wife was pushed or not. So that's an interesting admission, much like the trademark thing being dismissed, and Perry kind of saying, maybe I don't want to muddy this up too much, or maybe Perry got something and we're not being told what that is, because Steve Perry typically doesn't leave empty-handed. When he goes in on this, he's got great lawyers, and typically he gets something out of the deal, even if it's just some kind of an assurance that he'll be in on the next brainstorm that these guys have to earn money. It's surprising that Perry himself isn't doing stuff, because these other two guys sold all their rights over to Hypnosis when it comes to the songs. Perry still owns his rights, and I would be surprised if Steve Perry did the lump sum payout. And we know that Perry is still in on the profits, and I'll be talking about that in another video. So again, I'm not siding with the Shons, but this article is real heavy on the paranoia and what appears to be Neal not trusting anyone. And again, maybe the Shons are conspiracy theorists, right? Maybe they're like me. They're conspiracy theorists. And what happens with conspiracy theories? You wait a little while and most of them come true. And if they haven't come true yet, you probably need to wait a little bit longer. That's my thesis on the conspiracy theory angle. Here's Chimera. Hold your ground. Sometimes that's what you have to do in life. Just hold your ground, man. Just stand up for what you believe in. I mean, life is a journey, folks. Not a journey like, the band, but it is a journey. And Chimera, I don't know if it's a great name for a band when you think about it, but anyway, it's good music. Journey versus Def Leppard. It's got both elements going on there, and I think you'll enjoy it, courtesy of Frontiers Music. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, you know what they say, there are a bunch of people that watch your video and they don't subscribe. So for you folks, if you can subscribe, that would be awesome. I'm not asking for money, although I do have a Patreon and I do have YouTube memberships. And if you feel inclined to do that, to support the channel, you can, right? But at a very basic level, subscribing to the channel will help me. Someday, I'd like to get that silver play button or whatever it is. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I'm working in that direction. So 64K, I think it is. So yeah, I've got to have pretty amazing growth for this channel But I know you guys are out there. And if you watch the videos, please subscribe and hit the bell if you want notifications on new videos. And I'll be back. I want to talk about Steve Perry and what he gets from all of this, because it's absolutely amazing.